Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to the channel. Another golf ball review for you here today. This time we've got the Vice Pro Zero. So I was so excited. I'm a big Vice fan. I did a whole Vice week a while back and I've reviewed all their golf balls and I had amazing results with all of them. And so I loved when I heard that they were coming out with a new one. But I have to admit, one of my first thoughts was, do they really need a new one? You know, they have the Drive, a nice 2-piece. They have the Tour, which is like your budget 3-piece. Then they have the Pro Soft. Then they have the Pro. They have the Pro Plus. Is there really room for another one in there? So just to let you know, if you're not aware, this one essentially is just under the Pro line, and it's just above the Tour line, which is about $31 a dozen. You can buy them in bulk and get them for around $23.99 a dozen, but you have to buy the 5 dozen. So we're just going to judge them based on $31 a dozen. That's if you want to buy just 1 dozen to try them out. So $31 a dozen. I'm kind of turned off by that price point because that's only $4 less than the Pro or the Pro Soft or the Pro Plus. And then my thought process is, okay, well, what does this golf ball do differently? Why are we saving the $4? Well, this one is kind of just a balanced all-in-one. Like the Pro Soft is for slower swing speeds. The Pro's like your, more softer, but, for a little bit mid to high swing speeds. And then your Pro Plus is, of course, for your fast swingers. It's a harder 4-piece. Whereas this one says, hey, all swing speeds welcome. And anytime I see that, I get a little nervous, especially when you already have a line of golf balls that are designed to cater to every type of swing speed. My question would be, where does this one come in? It is a 3-piece urethane golf ball, so it does, look the part. But ultimately, I'm going to have to see how the numbers perform because, again, when you can go to your local Walmart and just buy the Pro for $35 a dozen, why would you not do that opposed to saving $4 a dozen by going with this? We'll find out. Let's start with the design. Vice has one of the best logos in the game. The nice cursive on there. It's young, it's modern, it's hip. I love it. The numbers underneath, very, very basic, but just really nice. And then on the side, they have that nice thick line. The alignment tool says Pro Zero on it. Very basic, very simplistic, but it does what it needs to do. It doesn't try to be anything more, but it also doesn't try to be anything less. I love it. It does feel like a urethane golf ball for sure. When you feel it, it doesn't feel plasticky or anything. It feels more like a premium model, which is good. Let's get into the chipping and putting and let's see how we do. All right, so out on the chipping and putting green with the Vice Pro Zero. So one thing I noticed is that when you take full shots with this golf ball, it feels firm. And if you're about 10 yards or more off the green and you have to use more of a pitching motion, it makes a loud click. It is very firm and it feels loud. But if you're just off the green and you're just doing your bump and runs, things of that nature, it's not as clicky. It actually has a little sponging effect to it and it feels a lot softer, but it's only once you get that close to the green. As far as the spin goes, it has tons of checkup. It actually reminds me of the Bridgestone ball I tested where it was stopping on a dime. It has massive amounts of checkup, as you can see there. Really great results as far as that goes, and it's pretty forgiving when it comes to the chipping part of it as well. Moving into the putting, it actually feels really dead. There's actually not any click at all, and actually this is one of the first golf balls in a while to offer really no feedback. If you miss hit it off the toe, it really just feels like you hit it off the center, which can be a good thing, but it also can be a bad thing. I like to know when I mishit it. It's hard to tell sometimes with this golf ball because it does spring off the putter pretty well, but if you mishit it, it's dead and it only goes about half the distance, so there's not a lot of forgiveness there. So I did have some mixed results around the greens, but overall, I wish it did have a little bit more of maybe a press or something that offered me when I mishit it so I would know. And then I wish it just wasn't so dang clicky on pitches, but other than that, it did perform pretty decently. Let's go in and see how those numbers are. Okay, so interesting numbers there. Let's go ahead and look at the actual numbers, see what we got. Starting out with the 9-iron, we are at 89 mile an hour ball speed. That's the lowest I've tested so far. It's really low. 119.6 on the distance, definitely the lowest I've tested so far. 112.3 on the carry, and then a 31-degree launch angle. Now, that is just extremely abysmally high. I did test it with 2 different golf balls. I had this one, I tried it for a little bit, then tried the other one. I have 2 models of the Pro Zero, and it's such a high launching golf ball. I really don't understand why it launches that high. I think ultimately that's why you're losing the distance, is because it's just launching too high. But also, I will say that this golf ball feels firm. I don't know what the compression is, but man, it's firm. And not only that, when you mishit it, it comes off almost rockish sometimes, you know. I use the Mizuno irons, so it shouldn't, I mean, it really shouldn't be the irons. Mizuno irons feel like butter, but I was not a fan of the feel of this golf ball. It was very unforgiving and very, very rockish at times, depending on where you hit it. So those numbers are not off to a great start. Getting into the 7-iron, we have 6,313 on the RPM. That is a little bit on the lower side of what I've been testing. It's like a lower to average, but not bad at all. I mean, that's definitely going to get you to stop on a green. 106.4, so that number is actually decent. So that ball speed's great as far as the 7-iron, and then you're looking at 158.7, 147.1. Those numbers are, yeah, I would say average to good. Those numbers are average to good. Nothing wrong with that right there. And then looking at the launch angle, 18.1. That's going to be like your mid-ball flight, so a nice perfect mid-ball flight. So honestly, so the 7-iron, it kind of rebounds with the 7-iron then. So the 9-iron was a little but the 7-iron must have compressed it just a little bit better, which is not a good sign, because that usually if my 9-iron doesn't compress well and my 7 does, that usually means the golf ball is a little firmer, which will turn a lot of golf ball buyers off. But let's see if it can continue it through the 5 and the driver. So 5 hybrid, looking at 4,003 on the spin. That is an average number, nothing wrong with that. And then 116 on the ball mile per hour speed. That is average as well. Okay, so it's compressing pretty decent. And then 187.8 on your total distance and 173.3 on your carry distance. Those numbers are they're average to low. They're low average. I didn't get a lot. And then if you look at the 13.9 launch angle, that's probably why. That is a little on the lower side. It's not abysmally low by any means, but it is low. So that's probably why there's a little bit of a gap there as far as the distance. And then getting into the driver, so we have 2,616. That is very low spin for the driver. That is good to see. Very low spin. And then we're looking at 236.1 on the total distance, 216.1 on the carry. Those numbers are low. They're a lot lower than I would like them to be, which is a shame, because the ball speed being at 134.3 isn't bad either. That's a pretty good number. And the spin being so low, I'm surprised those numbers aren't just a little higher. But then you get into the launch angle, and then you find your culprit, which is a 12.6. So that seems to be the consistent key in the lower lofted clubs, is that it launches low, and that seems to be the case here too. 12.6 is one of the lowest I've had with the driver. Actually, it might be the lowest. It is. It's the lowest I've had with the driver since the retesting, and that's just going to lose you too much distance. So honestly, with all these numbers, there's a lot of average. There's a lot of mediocre in there. It is what it is, I guess, but nothing really fantastic. I did enjoy the 7-iron, but most of the 7-iron was just average. So if that's the best it has to offer, it's a disappointment for sure, especially for a Vice golf ball. Getting into the durability real quick, the durability I actually have zero issues with. I would rate it about a 4 out of 5. It's very good for what it offers. There's some scrapes there. There's a little bit of a scrape from where I hit a tree. Don't ask me how I hit the tree. I have to hit into a net. But it definitely does scrape a little bit. It will once you play 18 with it, you're probably done. It probably doesn't need to go any further than that. So a 3.5, a 4 out of 5, somewhere in there. Definitely enough to get you through a full round, which is good. But I wouldn't count on it any after that. I would say it probably would start to affect the ball flight a little bit. All right, so getting into the final bit here, would I recommend it? What's the target market? I'm not going to recommend it. And really what it comes down to is, regardless of how the numbers were, it goes back to what I said at the beginning, which is this golf ball even needed? I mean, is it even something that needs to be there? I just don't feel it is. I mean, Vice already has their market so well. You know, the Tour is such a great performing golf ball at $25 a dozen. And the fact that you can get them for $16 if you buy them bulk, amazing. Their drive golf ball is fantastic. I've recommended it to a lot of people, and they use it, and they still use it as far as a 2-piece distance ball. You know, the Pro line is something I still use all the time. I use the Pro Soft a lot of the time, and then if it's really warm outside, I'll use the Pro. And then I've got a buddy who loves the Pro Plus. You know, Vice offers all these different colors and everything. They just have such a great business model and plan, and their marketing is fantastic. I'm just not sure where this fits in. I mean, I'm not sure there really needed to be a golf ball between their budget tour ball and their tour ball, because now you have something that really is just trying to cater to everybody, and it just ends up with a mediocre result, which is very disappointing. So ultimately, I don't recommend it, just because for an extra $4 a dozen, my recommendation is just get the Pro or the Pro Soft. Those are proven golf balls they've been working on for years. Pros love, or not pros, but like Golf Digest usually gives them the gold medal. They've been reviewed. People love them. They sell out. I mean, it's a phenomenon. They've spent years developing these. This feels like they were just trying to flood the market a little bit more, and I just don't like the results. So ultimately, I would say just spend the extra $4. Or actually, to be honest with you, I got better results with the Tour. Spend $6 less and get the Tour, really. And if you don't absolutely have to have the urethane cover, spend $6 less and do that. But if you have to have it, spend the extra $4. It's much worth it. Guys, as always, keep watching to keep saving, keep learning. I appreciate you being here. Until next time.